What's going on YouTube? It's the Theban Gamer. Today we're going to be doing a review of Rome 2 in Q4 of 2021, headed into 2022. So this is a game that I still play somewhat infrequently these days, but I still play from time to time just to get on the multiplayer and kind of experience some of Total War online. And it's just something I wanted to review for people who want to buy it just now. They see it on a Steam sale. They just want to see, hey, is it worth still picking up in 2022? So we're going to go over, the merits, the bad things about it, and then whether or not you should pick it up going over into 2022. So for Rome 2 in its current state, we can kind of talk about some of the good things. Again, the good things are that for the most part, for the single player campaigns, you can get bundles that have all the DLCs. The DLCs, for the most part, do have a lot of quality to them and are sometimes even better than the base game. So, there's a lot of good DLC. Single player wise, you still have a lot to play through if you haven't played Rome 2 before. So if you played other Total War games, if you played some of the newer ones, you want to kind of go back, you can kind of go back through a single player campaign and have some fun there. So that's really a big positive. The gameplay itself, just being historical, it was one of the last decent historical Total Wars. Really Total War Attila I think was like the last decent historical Total War game. But yeah, one of the last decent ones along with Attila. And it really does offer you kind of like not exactly again, perfect history, but just kind of like helps you dive back into that time period. So really again, the single player campaigns that they are, all the DLC, if you can get it for a good price, right, it is a good value in terms of just the amount of content with all the DLC added. Those are the positive things. So on the flip side, we can go to the negatives, and to be honest, there's many. For starters, if you're trying to play online, the community itself over the years has become more and more toxic. Right now, I think they're really at the most toxic they've ever been. If you go into a game and you're a newer player, you can expect to get rude comments in the chat. You can expect to have people rage quit. People are not helpful toward one another. If a player is newer, they don't really seek to help them out, and it's really a tough environment, right? Really, in 2022, and this is like 8 years after the game came out, you're basically facing all the meta players who just want to exploit every little issue in the game, right? They're not really looking to have fun or teach new players or just kind of have a good game. They're looking to exploit every little bug or glitch or something that's just like that really shouldn't be in the game. Like for example, pushing through, right, where someone can literally push through their units, through a unit and just kind of surround them that way. People just look to exploit that. So playing online is extremely toxic, and you will rage quit. Again, I'm somebody who's, I would say, pretty decent, maybe even above average at Total War, and there were just so many times where I was just angry at how people treated each other, how people mid-match would literally just throw a hissy fit and quit for basically no reason. Even if the game was close, people would just throw a hissy fit and quit, right? And there's even games where I went to where teammates get mad at each other for no reason. They have a setback, they just get mad at each other, and then a guy like will just stop playing. He'll still be in the game, right, taking up space, but he'll just stop playing just to spite somebody. So really, the multiplayer community is extremely toxic in 2022. If you want to play online, I would strongly recommend you go to the newer Total Wars. For this game, I really would not play online at all if that's the reason why you're buying it. I think that it may have been good at some point. There are YouTubers like Pixelated Apollo who played in the past. I think a big reason why they don't play anymore is just because of how toxic the community gets and how hard it is to find good lobbies where people will stay and actually just like play the matches through. So multiplayer is very frustrating, and that's going to weigh heavily on the final score of this game, in my opinion. Just having multiplayer that's awful and enraging is just terrible. Another thing too is that there are still glitches in the game. They haven't really patched everything out. So for example, if you're playing a siege, whether in campaign or multiplayer, your men will take forever to get up on the walls. They'll get stuck in the ladders. They'll face all types of pathfinding issues. And this is 8 years after the game has come out, and this is 20, 30 patches into the game, right? These are not like the first patches, and they still haven't fixed any of that. So to me, that's really, really unfortunate. And for again, Rome 2 for Creative Assembly was really, I feel like, where they kind of looked to more cash out. Like, they didn't really care as much about the quality of their games. They really kind of looked to just kind of release something in a broken state, and then later we'll fix it. And they never really did. So this is like kind of like when some of the qualities of the Total Wars really started going downhill after Shogun 2 and Rome 2. So again, there's still frustrating bugs. Some of the newer Total Wars, like Attila, for example, they do iron out a lot of the bugs, but still, it's really unacceptable for some of these bugs. And some of these bugs are here from, like, the original medieval Total War, right? So multiple games before this. So again, there are bugs in the campaign. There's a couple of systems where if you are a newer player going into Total War, or you're just somebody who wants to become an Alexander the Great, you want to become an ancient warrior and just like be a great general, they do have political systems that I personally find annoying, right? You have to keep generals happy, and there's no real way to turn it off besides mods. There are mods where we can turn off some of the politics, but for myself, I think that they should have added an option in the game to turn off the politics, because it gets annoying. Like, if you're just trying to be an Alexander the Great, you're just trying to conquer stuff, trying to be a Caesar, and just like conquer stuff and like bowl your way through the campaign and have fun fighting battles. You're not really interested in the politics. You don't really get that option by default. So some of those things still persist in the single player campaign. There's also the issue of unit rosters and unit balancing. Vanilla in the game, there's you would think for this time period they'd have a litany of units, but many of the factions, like if you're not playing Rome, many of the factions are extremely bare, and this includes the DLC factions, right? Factions like Athens, Sparta, Syracuse, these Greek factions that were monsters in their day, are absolutely awful. They have nothing but hoplites, and for melee infantry they'll have like one unit. So I think that was pretty lazy on them to release those units in full-fledged DLC packs, and then to not put a full roster on some of those units. So really, there's and there's even factions that are marquee factions in the game that don't have full rosters. Like, if you look at Carthage, right, they really only have a couple melee infantries that are not mercenaries. So that's I think that was lazy again with the release of the game. Carthage did add some DLC units, but that was just for a fully fledged faction like Carthage, you have to have a full roster, right? The only faction that personally to me has a full roster, and there's really two or three, right, are the Romans, the Egyptians, and then maybe the Seleucids, to be honest. The rest of the factions have very partial rosters. You can't really, there's maybe a low, medium, and high tier infantry, and that's it. Nothing in between. There's not really too many units with like special effects. Some factions don't even have access to armor piercing units, which is ridiculous, right? If you have like a faction like the Romans that's heavily armored, some factions will literally lose just by default, right? Which I don't like. Every faction should have at least some type of counter, whether it's archers or cav or something like that, to armored factions and things like that. But in this game, again, you could choose certain factions and you'll automatically lose the battle online or otherwise. You'll be an automatic disadvantage and lose the battle by choosing that faction. And I'm not really a fan of that. They need to, if they're gonna give a faction a disadvantage, they need to balance them out and give them an advantage in another area. As you're seeing in this gameplay, right? If you look at the siege, a lot of the infantry types are the same because a lot of these factions don't have a good selection of units. Like I pointed out, really it's only Rome that has that great selection, and then everyone else has to kind of make do and just kind of work around that. And to kind of compound on that as well, Rome itself is way too powerful for this game. Whether you're playing online or or even single player, they will chew through any other faction And this includes Kush, by the way. Some people think Kush is a counter. Kush's units are so expensive that even if you're playing with the Romans, you could just skirmish them down, throw your Pila and just absolutely demolish them with numbers, right? So you'll see that obvious trend, right? On many multiplayer battles, you can't even play Rome because people ban it, which is a good thing, right? They ban literally the most overpowered faction. You'll have in online, right? Everyone wants to be Rome, and you'll have people fighting about who should be Rome and this and that, and you'll just it's so unbalanced that everyone knows it's OP from the newest player to the experienced veteran. And there's players that they could have never played Rome 2 before. They can load up the Romans and absolutely demolish a faction that's not prepared, right? That really can't happen just because of how powerful they are. I've even seen AI beat human players just because they're Rome and they can literally cut through them. So making Rome was obviously the most powerful empire of the time, but you have to balance them out somehow. Some factions have no counter to Rome, and it's really really awful. Going on other things, with the graphics, graphics look for the date of the game, they look pretty good. If I had to give them a score, let's say in 2022, I'd give them maybe a 7 out of 10. But they look pretty good for what they are. They can even contend with some of the newer Total Wars and the artistic style and things like that. That's pretty good. So I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. Still, I think they're still pretty good. As for the sound design, I'm gonna give that an 8 out of 10. They have good sound design in general. The music is good. There's no real issues there. For the gameplay itself, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10, and that's really basically because there's still many glitches. You can still push through units. There's so many things that are broken with the game and that people just knowingly abuse, and that were never fixed. Right? These things were always abused, and they were never fixed from the outset of the game. You also have overpowered factions. You have factions that don't have any counter to other factions. You have a game where, like, when you're playing online, everyone chooses only a select few factions because they're competitive, and they literally will just dismiss like 70% of the factions just due to that. So I'm gonna give gameplay a 4. It's not really that great. It's not really the main draw. For the overall, I would say for the overall game itself, if I had to give a score in 2022, I'm going to give this game a 5 out of 10 in 2022, right? In late 2021, 2022, 5 out of 10. This game has really become an average, mundane game. It has some appeal in single player that can really, really make it better for some people. Like, if you haven't experienced it before, there's a lot of content to see here. Playing by yourself, pretending you're Caesar, and just like, going through the campaigns is fun. However, all of that is completely erased by the multiplayer, right? Any form of multiplayer you play is really awful. The multiplayer is bare bones. The community is so toxic that even the main YouTuber Pixelated Apollo has stopped covering Rome 2 because the community is just so toxic and so bad, right? Even all the YouTubers just stopped playing it due to that reason, right? This is, I would say, the most toxic community multiplayer wise I've ever seen in a game, and this is after playing games for like 15 years. I've never seen a community this toxic. I've seen some horrible communities, but this is probably the worst one. That multiplayer really brings it down, and then just like the bugs and glitches. So this has been the Theban Gamer, just reviewing a game that a lot of people may not have played yet. They want to get in the sale. They've heard good things about it, and yeah, I'm just putting my review out there. Thanks, guys, for listening. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you want to see anything specific. I can review it. Thanks. Theban Gamer signing out. Thanks.